West Valley Community Services serves over 6,000 individuals and families annually. Stay tuned to hear about their organization and exciting fundraising events they hold.
Welcome to The Better Part, a program that encompasses a diverse spectrum of topics important to our community, which we hope will both inform and entertain you. We invite you to sit back and enjoy the program.
Hello, my name is Beverly Lenahan, your host for this edition of The Better Part. My guest is Naomi Nakono Matsumoto. She is the executive director with a nonprofit organization called West Valley Community Services. Hello, Naomi. How are you today?
Hi, Bev.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
We're really happy to have this time together to be able to talk about West Valley Community Services. Tell me a little bit about WVCS and what services you provide.
Sure. WVCS, or West Valley Community Services, is a basic needs safety net organization, and we make sure that no one in the West Valley region that we serve goes hungry or homeless. And so we have several food pantries, and we provide housing services and case management services to help people get to a state of stability in their financial lives. And so we started in 1973 in Cupertino and started off with the name Cupertino Community Services, but yes, because we serve a wider range of communities, so we serve Cupertino, Los Gatos, Saratoga, Monte Sereno, and West San Jose, we changed our name about 5 years ago to West Valley Community Services. And we have a food pantry in Cupertino, and we also have a food pantry in Los Gatos called the House of Hope, and that's a partnership with Calvary Church. And we have below market rate housing that we own and also manage for the city of Cupertino. And we have transitional housing units for men and for women. And we also, like I said, have case management services to help people move on to sustainability.
That's a really important piece of it, isn't it?
It
to
is.
make sure that folks have a chance to go on with their lives and they've got all the tools they need to do that. So that's very important.
Besides food and shelter, we want to make sure that they have the skills that they need so that they don't need us after a few weeks or months. And so it's using that old adage, if you give someone a fish, you feed them for the day, but we want to make sure that we can help teach them so that they can have food for their,
a
lifetime.
lifetime.
Yes.
Sure. Well, that's quite an array of services, and it takes a lot to keep that going. So what is your position as executive director? What is it that you do?
Okay, well, like most nonprofit agencies, is to make sure that the mission of the agency is carried out, make sure that we are fiscally viable so that that mission can be carried out, and also making sure that the services we provide are of quality and are efficient use of the funds that we get.
All those resources.
Yes.
And so that sounds simple, but I know it's not so simple. It takes daily diligence, doesn't it?
Yes, and especially with this economy, it's getting more difficult for nonprofits to be able to raise the money to provide the services that our community still needs.
And people are even short of time, so it's the money and the time, isn't it?
Yes, but we are lucky because we have a huge volunteer base, and we continue to still need more because our resources are going down, and so we rely more on volunteers than before.
Yes, well, earlier you mentioned the food pantry, and who's allowed to use that? How does food actually get to your facilities?
Okay, that's a good question. Well, anyone in the West Valley region that we serve is able to come in and use the food pantry if they qualify for our services, which means that their income is below HUD guidelines. And then we are very lucky because we partner with a variety of local businesses and with the Second Harvest Food Bank in getting food into our food pantry. And we also have a huge donor base of people in the community who bring in food at all different times. And so whether they have a food drive for us or whether they bring in individually as the fact that they want, feel like they want to go to the grocery store and buy a bag of food and drop it off. So but we have about 12 grocery stores and businesses that we glean from.
Wonderful.
And that is all volunteer based in the sense that our volunteers go out into the community, they're driving our vans and glean from the stores the things that they can no longer sell, bring it back into our food pantry, sort it, stock it, and then work with our clients who come in.
That too is a big job.
It is.
Well, as fellow Rotarians, you know, we have the nice opportunity to bring in bags of food every quarter. So that's always something that I really appreciate getting to do, because I don't necessarily get to do that on a weekly basis, but I look forward to being able to help out when I can.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
And
that's great.
And the Cupertino Rotary is one of our biggest partners, and we've had a long-standing history. And I'm really excited to say that the Rotary has just donated monies to purchase a new van, because our old one that was
Yes,
purchased
that's
about
right.
18 years ago is on its last leg. And so without that, we're not able to get the food into the pantry and back out into the community.
Well, I know the board was very pleased to be able to come to that decision and to let the membership know of the Rotary, because we have a good partnership, don't we?
We do.
Yeah, and those are very, very helpful. Well, we have a video clip of one of your clients that uses the services, I think in Los Gatos.
Yes.
So tell us her name, and then we'll meet her.
Okay, this is our client Brooke, and she agreed to be videotaped for this particular session. So
Good. Well, let's meet her now.
Can you tell us your name and where you're at today?
Hi, I'm Brooke Autumn, and I'm here at the House of Hope in Los Gatos. It's run by West Valley Community Services.
And why are you here today?
I'm here for the pantry, to get food at the pantry.
And how long have you been coming here?
About 2 years. It's very, very helpful.
How did you find out about West Valley Community Services?
One day I stopped by the House of Hope. I drive by every day taking my children to school and back, and I got food at the pantry, and then I subsequently registered at the West Valley Community Services, and now I come every week.
Other than the food pantry services, were there any other programs and services that you've accessed with us?
Yes, my children go to the summer camps, and I participate in the back to school program and in the Easter baskets and in Cakes for Kids.
And how has that helped you?
Oh, it's been just such a blessing to me and the children. The Cakes for Kids really gives the kids a special birthday. They bring a birthday cake or cupcakes and it just makes the kids' birthdays. And then the back to school programs, we go to J.C. Penney's and get new school clothes for the kids. And then the Easter baskets are filled with school supplies. And sometimes, in the Christmas program, that's a really great program where the children can have some Christmas presents and some gift cards that they're just thrilled about. So there's lots of great programs.
Do you meet with the case manager regularly with West Valley?
I do. I meet every 6 months and I get recertified. I think maybe it's every 3 months. And I get recertified.
Great. What was the turning point for you and your family?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by turning point, but for us, when I got a restraining order against my husband and started an abuse case with the detective, and then we subsequently lost our house in foreclosure and we were homeless before the judge approved my move away. And so then we moved up here and with my mom. So that was a huge change for all of us.
And what's your future outlook like now?
It's pretty good. The kids are, we're just really happy to be in a stable home environment and to have a roof over our head and food to eat. So
wonderful. Would you have any suggestions for like the county or the state of California on how to improve services for people such as yourself?
I would say to please fix the divorce court system because children really need more support, and single moms need more support, and the system just really is failing children, so it needs to be corrected.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that was a wonderful story to hear, Naomi. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. And what a testimony to what you do. So let's talk about some of your fundraising events. We're happy to do this feature about a program that's coming up about the Chefs of Compassion. Tell me what that is and what are the details?
Okay. Well, Chefs of Compassion, excuse me, Chefs of Compassion is one of our great events that we've just started last year. And it was very, very successful. One of the things we wanted to do is incorporate food into our fundraising, because that's a big part of what we do. And so we came up with the idea that we have all these great chefs here in the Bay Area, but
Yes,
and they have access to all the great food and ingredients. But what if they were faced with the challenge of having to cook with what our clients have in our food pantry? And so it's a competition with 4 of our local well-known chefs. And they come in. They select on a course that they are going to compete against, and then they come in and shop in the food pantry, and that's the only ingredients that they can use. And then all 4 of them come back, and we have a cook-off basically.
Oh, very good,
So,
very good.
And this indirect benefit of it is that we get to teach our clients different ways that they can use the food also. And it also exposes our community to the fact that sometimes, things that come into our food pantry may not be the highest of quality, or that many of our families are making do with what comes in. But that there are things that we can do to still be able to
a little
sustain.
creativity goes a long way,
Yes,
doesn't it? And what an interesting challenge for them, because it's easy when you can go and pick out anything you want. But we don't always have that luxury, do we?
Yes.
So I think we have a short video of one of your chefs in the food pantry in Cupertino. I think he is the first chef to select the course that he's going to cook for the event. Let's meet Chef Joey. We know that last year you were surprised at the first Chefs of Compassion event and how delicious that first course meal was using ingredients from your food pantry.
Yes.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Joey Ontario, the chef over at Chez TJ in Mountain View, California. We're over here at West Valley Community Service in Cupertino. I just got done selecting my ingredients for the first course of the dinner. I happened to be the first person to get to choose my ingredients, so I didn't get a picked over pantry. I got a fully stocked one. Some of the ingredients I picked were some jalapenos, just because I picked kind of the scary ingredients that they probably get overlooked in the pantry, just to kind of broaden people's horizons of what you can do with those ingredients. One of them being jalapenos. I think they're scary because they're spicy, but they don't always have to be spicy. You can make them mellow, and the actual flavor of the fruit itself is quite amazing. I also picked some rice milk, which is another thing that tends to be scary. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it, but we're going to figure something out. Next, we're going to be going over to the restaurant where I'm going to be laying out the ingredients and getting my knife out and just kind of seeing where my knife is going to take me. And hopefully we'll have a well put together dish at the end.
We followed Chef Joey to his restaurant, Chez TJ, in Mountain View, and we're going to show you a video of what his first completed course is using ingredients from the food pantry.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Joey Ontario, the chef here at Chez TJ. I am part of the West Valley Community Service Chefs for Compassion this year. I personally was a former client of West Valley Community Services when I was younger. My family, my mother and my father went through a divorce, and I have an older brother, older sister, and a younger brother, and West Valley Community Service actually helped us get through that tough time. It's great to be able to come full circle and be able to give back to something that helped me out when I was younger. Currently, I've been the chef here at Chez TJ for a little over a year. I was a sous chef under the prior chef for about a year and a half. So I've been here about 2.5 years. Chez TJ is celebrating our 30th anniversary this year. We are the 6th oldest house in Mountain View. This is a Victorian house that George Aviette has slowly transformed into a beautiful restaurant. And with that being said, every day we're transforming more and more and trying to refine more and more. I became a chef because the competition in the kitchen, the competitiveness, the creativity, being able to never stop learning. You can't learn everything, and every day is a new day. Every ingredient's a new ingredient. Every piece of asparagus is different. So it's just great because every day, no matter what, is different, and it's just an amazing profession to be able to teach the next generation of cooks that come through my kitchen, but also to be able to make people happy through food. Well, at least that's our goal. My inspiration to become a chef on top of that was from my sister. My older sister originally actually was the one that wanted to become a chef, but she got married and had kids and wasn't able to, so she kind of pushed me in that direction and said, why don't you go check out the culinary school? And I went for a tour, signed up, and fell in love, which is fun. I mean, it's been such a roller coaster ride, and it's great to have a restaurant of this caliber here in the South Bay where I'm born and raised, because this is where my heart is. I know all the back roads, and it feels comfortable to be home. It feels comfortable to be able to cook where I know. Outside of the back of our restaurant, we have a little garden. It's been there since 1989. Louise Christie has been caring for our garden for the last 5 years. She does it all in her free time, all volunteer work, and it is absolutely stunning. She comes about 2-3 times a week, and it puts everything she has into it, and it shows on the plate, and it really brings a lot of it's a big source of inspiration for me. And the rest of my staff. It also gives the stages and students that come through our kitchen a great appreciation for where their produce is coming from, and it's quite amazing. My dish today was the panna cotta of rice milk and blackberry and jalapeno. It was just a fun creation that kind of came up with this morning. While looking at the ingredients, and hopefully it tastes good.
It's wonderful to see how Chef Joey is giving back and to hear his story. Do you have a few other stories of clients that you'd like to talk to us about today, Naomi?
We have, a lot of wonderful success stories with our clients, and so it's hard to choose, one. But one that comes to mind right away is a man that really touched our lives a couple of weeks ago. He's been with us as a client for about a year. He was homeless. He was found by the fire department, and was actually referred to us. He had been living in his car for about 2 years. Had a lot of health conditions, and so we helped him to move into our transitional housing unit, and he was able to get enrolled in De Anza College, and things were going really well for him. So.
Oh, that's wonderful, especially to think that he could actually transition back into school and feel like he's got a good start again. That's a great story. Anyone else that you can think of?
We have another story we have many families who are actually who work and who struggle, day to day to get food on the tables. And we have one particular client who came from a domestic violence situation. She had a young son, or she has a young son, and they had been in a shelter before, but because of his disabilities, he is blind. He had a difficult time living in that situation because I think the other people living there didn't know how to deal with someone who has a disability, and so they came into our program. We worked with them, and it was exciting because we were able to get other resources for him, so audio books and other things, so that he could be able to not only it wasn't just food and shelter, it was being able to get other resources that would help him thrive and be able to feel good about himself.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Chef Joey is one of the 4 chefs cooking for this event. Tell us briefly about the other 3 chefs that are going to be present at Chefs of Compassion.
Okay. Well, and I want to make sure I get their names right, so I'm going to read them off so I get them
good.
right. So
Great.
Besides Chef Joey, we're really excited that Ross Hansen, he's the executive chef at restaurant James Randall. He's going to be cooking
very
with
nice.
us.
Yes.
And then another local favorite is Brad Creighton. He is the executive chef at Park Place.
Oh, very
And
good.
our last chef is David Wiesner, and he's the executive chef at Sienna Bistro in Willow Glen. And so they're exceptional chefs. They're very well liked and well known, and so we're really looking forward to an exciting competition this year.
Well, it should be, especially with using the foods from the pantry. That should be a lot of fun. There are a couple of chefs there I don't know very well, so we'll be looking forward to coming and enjoying it. I know last year we didn't necessarily know the date ahead, and I know you've got a date already, and you're anticipating a good group.
Yes, so we are going to have our second annual Chefs of Compassion on Friday, September 14th. It's going to be at the Lexus of Stevens Creek. They are partnering with us, and so we're really excited about not only about our chefs and everything else, but our venue is going to be an excellent venue for this event.
Very good.
And we have some really great judges that will be coming in to judge our event again this year. So
that makes it fun too,
yes.
doesn't it? Special events that you do during the year?
We've had other types of events, and we're in the past we've had a dinner in the park. One of the other things that we do on a monthly basis, I just forgot, is what's called Taste of Compassion. And so every month we work with a local restaurant, and we have a prefix menu and a prefix price, and 50% of that, what is I guess brought in for that night is donated back to West Valley Community Services. So again, bringing food back into and it's a win-win for everyone, because the restaurants are able to bring in patrons to their business on usually a Monday and Tuesday night when they're the most slowest, and we get, WVCS gets a donation from that, and then our donors or supporters who go out to eat have a fun way and a good way to go have a nice meal, but then still do something good for the community.
We love that. We like going with friends. It's something that we sort of plan ahead for, and we do with friends, and then feel good because we know it's also a fundraiser as well.
Yes, and so we've gotten some really loyal supporters like you, and many who come up as a group. It may be their monthly supper club meeting or something that they choose to come to us for. So it's turning out to be a really successful and fun event.
Sure. I understand recently West Valley Community Service was awarded a CREST Award by the City of Cupertino. So what is the CREST Award, and tell us about that. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. And actually, it was our volunteers from West Valley Community Services who won the award. And every year, probably since for the last 10 years that or 7 years that I've been at West Valley Community Services, a volunteer from our agency has been selected as a CREST Award winner, and that's the City of Cupertino's award that they give to members of the community who go above and beyond for Cupertino. And so we're really excited because we have, like I said before, we have great volunteers. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without our volunteer base. We have over 100 volunteers who are on site every week, and then over 600 volunteers who come on to do various projects for us during the year. And so, trying to pick 2 or 3 to nominate is a very hard thing to do because they're all great, but there are some that stand above and go above and beyond. And so we had several, Harvey and Cease Barnett, who are a husband and wife team.
And fellow Rotarians.
Yes, and Don Staub. And then we also had former board members or people, and most of the people who receive CREST Awards are connected to West Valley Community Services in many ways. I mean, you were a CREST Award winner, and you helped support WVCS, and Judy Wilson, Dolly Sandoval, who was a former board president and of West Valley Community Services, and so the list goes on, but we're really excited that we are able to help recognize these unsung heroes who come in to help and are the lifeblood of West Valley Community Services.
And that's a great way for you to provide that gratitude, in doing that, because more people in the city will know not only about the volunteer work that they do, but also about West Valley Community Service. It's a win-win, isn't it?
It is.
For sure. Many people are going to be watching and wanting to know about how to get a hold of West Valley Community Service. So give us some contact information.
Okay.
How can they reach you?
Sure. Okay, so West Valley Community Services, you can reach us at 408-255 800-878-8033, or on our website, which is www.wvcommunityservices.org. And then our Chefs of Compassion, we also have our own website, so it's www.chefsofcompassion.org.
Very good. So, Naomi,
Mm-hmm.
what else would you like to tell us about, we have just a few minutes
Mm-hmm.
remaining, about West Valley Community Services?
Okay. So, well, thank you, Viv. One of the things I'd like to say is that next year we'll be celebrating our 40th anniversary.
Oh, my.
And
40.
it is bittersweet because that means that 40 years have we been in business, and that means that that's 40 years that people have needed us here in this community.
Yes.
And one of the things that I like to educate people on is that even though we live here in Santa Clara County, one of the wealthiest nations in the country, but also on the West Valley regions, it's one of the wealthiest areas here in the county and in the country. You know, there still are pockets of poverty in areas where many of our neighbors are struggling, and people are always amazed that an agency like ours would be in existence in Cupertino or Los Gatos or
It is amazing.
Saratoga. And the need is still there, even though we know that the economy is probably getting better. We know that for many of our clients, and whether it's at our agency or just in the nonprofit sector, the clients that we serve are going to be struggling probably for another 3 to 5 years. And so we want to make sure that no one, you know, that people continue to have the needs of their neighbors still in mind, and not just at Christmas and Thanksgiving, but year-round, because people, you know, are hungry whether it's in March or April just as much as in December.
Yes, and isn't that the truth?
Yes.
Well, I think it's kind of hidden in our neighborhood. You know, we take for granted that we've got good schools and we've got a great community, and I think there's a tendency for folks not to always feel comfortable sharing what their situation is, and that there might be a need. But it sounds like you've done a pretty good job of uncovering those folks. What can we do if we notice that there might be a family in our neighborhood who needs help, and we don't really quite know what to do about that? Any suggestions?
Well, you know, that's one of the things that we also deal with because of where we live, that there is a big stigma and shame factor because people feel that because I live in this area, I shouldn't have this difficulty.
Yes.
And so you can let them know about our services when they call. They are treated with dignity and respect, and we make every effort to make sure that, you know, their confidentiality is kept up, and connect them to whatever services that they can be connected to. But you can call us, and you know, unfortunately, because of confidentiality, we wouldn't be able to call them. But you know, if you can let them know about the services we provide, whether maybe it's putting a flyer in on their doorstep or talking to them directly.
Naomi, I want to thank you so much for being with us today. It's been a pleasure to be able to talk to you and hear more about West Valley Community Services.
Well, thank you, Bev.
Thank you for watching the program today. Look for our programs on YouTube and selected videos throughout the Santa Clara County Public Library.